In the ancient city of Damascus, during the golden age of craftsmanship, there lived a potter named Khalil. His workshop stood at the edge of the bustling marketplace, where merchants from distant lands would gather to trade silk, spices, and stories. Khalil was not wealthy, nor was he famous. His pots were simple, functional, and honest, nothing more. While other potters in the city created elaborate vessels adorned with intricate designs that fetched hefty prices, Khalil's work remained plain and humble. Every morning, before the sun painted the sky with its first light, Khalil would sit at his wheel. His hands, weathered and stained with clay, would shape each piece with quiet dedication. He never rushed. He never compared his work to others. He simply created. One day, a wealthy merchant named Rashid arrived in Damascus. Rashid was known throughout the land for his exquisite taste and his ability to recognize true value. He was searching for the perfect vessel, a pot that would hold the rarest perfume he had acquired from the Far East, a fragrance so precious that it was said to have been favored by kings. Rashid visited every renowned potter in the city. He examined vessels encrusted with gold leaf, jars painted with scenes of epic battles, and urns carved with verses of ancient poetry. Each potter boasted of their craftsmanship, their years of training, their prestigious clientele. But Rashid remained unsatisfied. Something was missing. These vessels, though beautiful, felt hollow to him, as if they were created merely to impress, not to serve a true purpose. As he wandered through the marketplace, frustrated and weary, a small boy tugged at his robe. "Sir," the boy said, "if you seek something genuine, visit Khalil the potter. His shop is modest, but his heart is in every piece." Skeptical but curious, Rashid followed the boy's directions to Khalil's humble workshop. The space was simple, no grand displays, no eloquent sales pitches. Khalil sat at his wheel, lost in his work, completely unaware of his distinguished visitor. Rashid watched in silence. He observed how Khalil's hands moved with gentle precision, how he would pause to feel the clay's texture, how he would occasionally close his eyes as if listening to the clay itself. There was no hurry, no pretension, only pure, mindful creation. When Khalil finally noticed Rashid, he stood and bowed respectfully. "Forgive me, sir. I did not hear you enter. How may I serve you?" Rashid explained his quest for the perfect vessel. Khalil listened carefully, then walked to a shelf in the corner of his workshop. He returned with a pot, simple in design, unadorned, with smooth, flowing lines. It seemed almost too plain to be of any significance. "This is what I have," Khalil said quietly. Rashid examined the pot. At first glance, it appeared ordinary. But as he held it, something extraordinary happened. The pot felt alive in his hands. Its weight was perfectly balanced. Its surface, though smooth, had a warmth to it. The opening was precisely proportioned, and when he brought it close, he could sense that it would preserve fragrance better than any ornate vessel ever could. "This is remarkable," Rashid whispered. "Tell me, why does this simple pot possess such quality?" Khalil smiled gently. "Sir, when I create, I do not think of fame or fortune. I do not compare my work to others. I ask myself one question with each piece. Am I giving my whole heart to this moment? If the answer is yes, then I know the work will be right." "But the other potters create such elaborate designs," Rashid observed. "Does that not discourage you?" "The peacock has beautiful feathers," Khalil replied, "but the nightingale has the most beautiful song. Each has their gift. I have learned that trying to be a peacock when you're a nightingale only silences your true voice. My gift is not in decoration, but in honoring the clay's purpose to serve faithfully and well." Rashid was deeply moved. He purchased the pot, paying Khalil more than he had ever earned for a single piece. But before leaving, he asked, "How did you learn such wisdom?" Khalil gestured to a broken pot in the corner. "Years ago, I created what I thought was my finest work, a large, elaborate urn that took me months to complete. I entered it in the Sultan's competition, certain I would win. But when the judges passed by my work without a second glance, I was devastated. In my anger and humiliation, I destroyed every piece in my workshop. For days, I sat in the ruins of my broken creations, bitter and defeated. Then an old wise man passed by my shop. He saw me amid the shattered clay and said something I will never forget. "Young man, the clay broke easily because it was shaped by your ego, not your spirit. When you create to prove your worth to others, your work becomes fragile. But when you create because it is your truth, your work becomes unbreakable, not in form, but in essence." From that day, Khalil continued, I stopped creating to impress. I began creating to express the truth within me. I stopped competing with others and started honoring my own path. And in that surrender, I found my real strength. Rashid left the workshop transformed. He had come seeking a vessel for perfume, but he left with something far more valuable, a lesson that would change his life. Years later, Rashid would tell the story of Khalil the potter to everyone he met. The simple pot, which held the precious perfume, became legendary not for its appearance, but for what it represented: the power of authenticity, the strength of humility, and the beauty of staying true to one's own path. Khalil never became the most famous potter in Damascus, but his work became the most treasured, because he understood a truth that many spend lifetimes searching for. Your greatest masterpiece is not what you create for the world to see, but who you become when no one is watching. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with images of others' successes, others' achievements, others' lives. We are tempted to compare, to compete, to compromise our authentic selves in pursuit of external validation. But like Khalil, our true power lies not in being better than others, but in being true to ourselves. Success is not measured by how many applaud, but by how deeply we honor our own gifts, our own journey, our own truth. When you stop trying to be someone else's version of successful and start becoming your own version of authentic, you discover that your so-called ordinary becomes extraordinary. Your simplicity becomes profound. Your faithfulness becomes your masterpiece. The question is not, am I as good as them? The question is, am I giving my whole heart to this moment? If the answer is yes, then you're already creating your masterpiece.